Hey YouTube, Simon here, welcome back to the channel, and I do get the impression this is going to be a big week for Final Fantasy VII Remake. We've already had the huge news that the demo is now available for public consumption. I've played through it, you can too, just get onto PSN and get that thing downloaded. It's 7.5 gigabytes and really gives you a good impression as to how the game is going to play. But recently as well, the press have been attending various events, and a lot of the stuff they've been learning was under embargo until today. So now this week, as I say, I think we're going to be getting a lot of news. One of the first things that's caught my attention is this article from VG 24/7, where they interviewed Naoki Hamaguchi, and he's confirmed that Red XIII will not be a playable party member in Final Fantasy VII Remake. Now, I do hate to blow my own trumpet, and I really do mean that, but I did actually call this a long time ago. As soon as it was pretty much announced that Final Fantasy VII Remake was going to be released over multiple games, over multiple parts, with Game 1 being the events that surround Midgar, one of the first thoughts I had was, okay, don't get too excited about the character of Red XIII, since even though he appears in Midgar in the original game, he only obviously appears towards the end of that sequence, and trying to shoehorn him into the remake as a full playable party member, I didn't know how that was going to work. A lot of people jumped on me and said, no, Square will do it, he's got to be in there, and, obviously it turns out that isn't going to be the case. Now, it is going to be the case that he will join as a playable party member, but that's probably along the lines of, say, the characters of Core or Aranea and how they appeared as guest party members in Final Fantasy XV. So that means that the number of party members that are going to be available in Final Fantasy VII will be 4, and that is Tifa, Barret, Aerith, and Jessie. So we'll just go ahead here and read through the quote from Naoki Hamaguchi, and I'll leave a link to this article down in the description if you want to read the whole thing. But Naoki says, we felt the point at which Red XIII joins the party in the story is very late on, and so we thought, okay, if we're going to have him as a full character and try and get the player to enjoy his character development arc and growth as a character through that, it's not really enough time to do that. And then he goes on, we thought that the best way to have him involved as a guest character was as a guest character. Normally throughout the game, you'll be playing as a 3-man party, but you'll have him as a guest character that fights alongside you during the last part of the story. And he'll be using all of his really old nostalgic moves, and you'll see that. We felt that was the best way of showing him off as a character and who he is. That's why we felt that was the best way to include him. And so ends the quote. Now, obviously, I know there's a lot of you who are Red XIII fans. This is probably going to be some sour news for you to take on board. I know that when Red XIII was first announced and revealed in the trailer a few weeks back, a lot of you got excited in the comment section of the video when I did a reaction to that. So I'm guessing some of you might be disappointed by this news that Red XIII is only going to be a guest party member, not a playable party member. But I suppose in a way this is the best of a bad situation. It was never going to be the case that Red XIII was going to be an integral part of the remake in the same way that, say, Cloud, Barret, Tifa or Aerith are. Just because of how he was involved in the story in the original game. Now, perhaps if this wasn't a remake, if this was a fresh game in the sense that the Final Fantasy VII story didn't exist and it was just created now for the first time, then they might have introduced Red XIII earlier on and had him as a 5th playable member. But obviously it does have to stay true to some degree to the original game, and they can't really introduce him earlier than towards the climax of the experience, because that's when it's all going to be kicking off, and that's going to be important leading into part 2. So yeah, like I say, I expected that Red XIII was going to be handled a little bit differently. I did kind of warn about that. So hopefully this won't come as too big of a shock for those of you that have been watching the channel for any amount of time. But yeah, please do share your thoughts down in the comments below. And if you think that Red XIII could have been handled differently in the remake, then maybe you could share some of those thoughts as well. But yeah, as of right now, our first experience of Red XIII is going to be as a guest party member, and then we're going to be playing him properly in part 2. But for more Final Fantasy VII Remake news and updates, make sure you stay tuned to the channel. Please do subscribe if you wish to do so. That really does support me and just shows me that there's interest in this kind of content. But thanks for stopping by. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.